Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the CEN show. The CEN stands for Community Education Network. And I'll tell you something, folks, we've been doing this for over 3 years now, and it's a beautiful thing. We have Professor Amin Ra in attendance. We have Brother Mashinda in attendance. And man, it's a wonderful thing. This evening, we have Brother Thomas, one of our team members. Brother Thomas is always bringing a very interesting, unique perspective to the show. And I'm just waiting for him to do his thing. So without further ado, welcome back, Brother Thomas. Good to have you, man. Go ahead and get started.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Father Muhammad, and I bear witness the most son of Allah, Muhammad is the exalted Christ and holy apostle, and I further bear witness on the Lord's Farrakhan's divine reminder, leader, teaching, guide, and our midst. And I greet my beloved brothers in the green words of peace. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Walaikum assalam.
Walaikum salam.
Welcome. Thank you for this opportunity, Brother Ross. And Baba Ra, I'd like to ask your permission to present for this evening, sir.
No, yeah.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I'm just playing.
Yes, sir. This evening's subject has been on my mind for a little bit. I've written some context, some literature on it, and kind of put it off to the side. But as an educator, I see it constantly rearing its ugly head on the reality of the condition of our youth. And I'd like to share some thoughts with you to just see how we feel about what's going on with the future generation of Black people in general, but Black males in specific. So let me just kind of put this up to get started. So the topic is kind of extreme, but I'm going to kind of take it down a few notches. Originally, my main issue was the LGBTQZP, because the alphabets are just getting longer and more extensive. The Z is for zoophile and the P is for pedophile. So bestiality and child love is now being propagated. It's now being one of the added behaviors that are supported by this group. The making of semi-sterile hypersexual hermaphrodites. And it just, I don't know what I was thinking when I honestly, I really don't remember even this title. It was such a while back that I had began writing on it. And I must have been on something, because I like the making of semi-sterile hypersexual hermaphrodites. That was just something that came to mind. And the issue, the thesis, my position is that the agenda of the LGBTQZP plus community under the guise of the American government is to use an age-old system of buck breaking the current and future generations of Black men into hypersexual, toxically feminized, adolescent-minded drug addicts. And they're using everything in society, everything that they can get their hands on, in order to ensure that this is the result. The man on the planet that had a reputation globally for being Mr. T, Mr. Testosterone, has now de-evolved to Mr. E, Mr. Estrogen. And the traditional man that had the title of being Mr. Estrogen has hijacked the title of being Mr. T. It's hijacked. I'm saying hijacked because there's no way that an estrogenized man by nature can be at the top of the testosterone scale. Caucasians don't have that ability. It's not in their genetic DNA to be Mr. T. They show all the signs that they're incapable of being traditionally testosterone dominant in every aspect. You know, one of the main sources that increases the testosterone content in males is the sun. How we metabolize the energy and the nutrients given off by the sun. And as you see, Caucasians are allergic to the sun. They thrive in the shadows. So they've to challenge this reality about us being the true testosterone man on the planet, they've developed methods and techniques, chemicals, experiments. They've injected us with, and they've incorporated within our everyday lifestyle counter testosterone producing agents that have resulted in the feminization of males, the emotional heightening of males, the inability for our young brothers to carry themselves as future males. And this picture is just an example of how comfortable our males are becoming and are getting in expressing that feminized behavior induced by chemicals, induced by propaganda, induced by role models that they revere in entertainment and athletics, foods that we eat, water that we drink, pesticides used on the foods, on the produce, fast food restaurants, saturated food deserts in our community. So that's just to kind of preface what I'll be speaking on this evening. To get it started, I just want to break down the purpose on why the Black man in particular has been attacked, his masculinity attacked. It's to maintain a false sense of global superiority against indigenous population of people, Black people in particular, who by nature would not only excel, but dominate on a level playing field in comparison to Caucasian people. I drew this diagram in my class. A diagram that kind of explains the existence of systemic racism. In the middle, you have a level playing field, which stands for equality, but the balance system of justice, balance between people plus correctness equals white or Caucasian inferiority. They're inferior on this level playing field. And as a product of that inferiority, they use all the weaponry, might, power, and evil intentions upon a naturally peaceful agrarian people to create a system that automatically gives them opportunity, privileges, wealth, power, and resources. That is a declining line to what I would call the bag: a lifelong success, accomplishment, and stability, wealth, family, influence, and resources. They have a downhill decline to it, to where if they tripped, they still would be on their way to this bag. If they were handicapped and just had to roll down the hill, they would still be towards the bag. And that's what Caucasian people represent. No matter what condition they are in, they have a predisposed advantage to success, accomplishment, stability, wealth, resources, and power. And as you see right below this line, this level playing field, you have all the other groups. You have people classified as non-white, victims of racism, white supremacy. You have every incline to the bag is a part of systemic racism-based disadvantages, inclining a slope to the finish line or the bag or success, opportunity, wealth, family advantages, influence, resources, and so forth. And these groups are in the order of what of those groups that have access to the bag easier and more fluently than other groups. We have Asian at the top. We have Eastern, Middle Eastern tan at the second. Native American red. Why do I put them in third? Because they own their own land. They have a piece of land, even though they've been totally destroyed due to alcoholism and drugs, and being able to fully take advantage of that land because of their experience and in response to the hundreds of years of being destroyed and conquered and abused by colonialism. They do own their own land. And you have Latino, Mexican, Hispanics who have access to their culture on the other side of the border and on the Southern America and so forth, which gives them a sense of family and community that they bring with them when they come to this country, even though they're like one of the second to the lowest groups being mistreated here. But then at the bottom, you have the Black man and woman. We are the worst, in the worst condition. We are the one that's focused on the most to keep in a subjugated, substandard, dehumanized condition. We are the most melanated, the most potential, the most able to conquer if left alone, the most able to advance and excel if left alone, the most capable of rising to the top if left unhampered, undisturbed. America spends billions of dollars to do this to Black people. And that's what this represents. Any questions so far? We good?
Well, let me see. I go through the panel. Brother Mashinda, any questions so far?
Not so far, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, Brother Chiwara.
Okay.
And Ra, you say you didn't have nothing right now. You on mute, Ra.
You said you introduced this chart to your class?
Yes, I do. I ask questions on it. I ask them what each line represents. What do they think about it? And
what grade are they?
10th grade.
10th grade, and they can comprehend it?
I've only had one student comprehend it so far, and I've walked them through it because, you know, it's just a chart and it's like has a lot of lines on it, a lot of reading, and it kind of, you know, discombobulates them at first. But then when I break it down, they're like, oh, okay. You know, they kind of, you know, it's the purpose to see who can get it at first. And then we have a discussion after I kind of break the lines down and see how they feel about it. It's just a way of kind of getting their eyes to open to a system that they must prepare to succeed and navigate successfully within post-graduation.
Okay.
All right.
That was the only question I had.
Thank you, sir. All right. So one of the strategies that I've thought about in the midst of writing this essay was a strategy that they use is to reduce the population growth of indigenous populations by any and all means necessary. And it reminded me of an article that I read about how South Africa deliberately spread AIDS, how the one of the organizations, South African Institute for Maritime Research, how they deliberately spread diseases, AIDS being one of the main ones, but many other diseases in Africa to deplete and diminish its population so that the dominant foreigner, the non-dominant, the low in population, depleted in population foreigner can dominate, can gain control, can wipe out the indigenous populations and have all of Africans' wealth, resources, land, and all to themselves, only keeping a few alive to work as slaves for this minority population of invaders. It just let me know that this is not something that is just isolated to South Africa. This is a universal policy that all Europeans practice during and after colonialism. Any relationship that they fostered with indigenous people was to gain the trust and use that trust to eventually dominate, subjugate, enslave, rape, murder, steal land and resources from that group in that area. And it's been successfully done globally. This just is something that came to my mind that I've noticed that all that's something that all colonial powers had in common. Another strategy is to reduce population growth of indigenous populations by any and all means is by continue to spread the AIDS virus all over the world. The United States at this moment, you know, Black people only make up 12% of the population, but we account for 40% of the 32,100 new HIV infections. Caucasians make up 61% of the United States and account for only 26%. Hispanics, Mexicans, Latinos, or so forth make up 18% and they count for 29%. And we always hear about this, you know, we always hear about this so-called conspiracy, which I call a reality, that AIDS and other diseases were meant to foster a depopulation campaign for indigenous brothers and sisters of the earth, Blacks in particular. Other methods are used called, you know, abortion via Planned Parenthood or the Eugenics Society. Food deserts, such as fast food restaurants, engineered soybean-based products, hybrid fruits and vegetables or seedless, all that contributes towards the sterility of a community and the death of a community. Soy is highly estrogenic. It saturates the body of a male with synthetic estrogen that compromises testosterone production and feminizes them. It saturates the female with synthetic estrogen, compromising her natural production of estrogen, masculinizing her. Water. Estrogen disrupting chemicals are in water that also do the same thing to males and females. When males have high contents of estrogen, it minimizes testosterone production. When females have high concentration of synthetic estrogen, it compromises natural estrogen production. Birth control. Depo-Provera is one of the most lethal birth control methods out there. Depo-Provera was used when a male pedophile was captured, convicted of the crime. Depo-Provera was used as a chemical to sterilize him, to make sure that he could never commit a crime. It takes away his testosterone to a certain degree where he can no longer be erect and produce sperm. It compromises the productivity of sperm and the ability to get erect. It castrates them chemically. The patch and the pill are highly estrogenic as well, and they also, if used by a woman who eventually wants to have a child, it tampers with the gender selection process inside of the womb while the child's in vivo. Mass incarceration is a gender isolation penal institution where hundreds of thousands, even close to 1 million Black men and women are forced to be in a gender isolated institution where they cannot reproduce. Drugs and alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamine, opioid, narcotics, tobacco products, those are all estrogenic. They not only cause major health problems, but they also are highly estrogenic. Marijuana, in a scientific experiment, it was 1 out of the 5 gender bending agents used to alter the gender of a fetus inside of the womb of its mother during pregnancy. Marijuana was that agent, not the marijuana my mom and dad grew up on. That's not the marijuana I'm talking about. It's the synthetic marijuana that's highly THC and low CBD. The high THC is estrogenic and it interferes with that process. Anybody have any questions thus far? Brother Rasiki?
Yeah.
Would you like
Brother
post-
Chihuahua? Brother Chihuahua, you available? Oh, can't get him. Brother Mashinda, anything yet? No. Professor Ra, you have anything?
Yeah, when you say that they use diseases and chemicals to take over people of color land, is that in addition to militarism?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Actually, yes. Military is like a tool that's even used to proselytize, to reinforce chemical, the chemical assault as well.
Okay, so when you say that South Africa spreaded HIV, there's white and Black people in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So it's meant for all of them? Because
Well,
that's a contagious disease.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, the way that it was, number one, according to Neely Fuller, there's always a white sacrifice whenever there is a method or strategy to use to attack Black people on a global or a mass scale. There's always a white sacrifice to kind of like give our attention to say that it's not a Black thing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so certain classes of Caucasians would be sacrificed to deter the masses from pinpointing the root agenda, like the AIDS virus in America when it first was introduced in America. We thought it was a gay Caucasian disease. It was even called GRIDS, gay-related immune deficiency syndrome. It wasn't even something that people who were heterosexual could even get, according to its initial diagnosis. And later, all of a sudden, we have 30 years later, and it's now Black people are the most highly populated group of new HIV cases. And I've always asked this question, sarcastically, So Black women have decided to no longer be attracted to Black males and pinpoint their attraction to gay Caucasian males who aren't even interested in them. And it's like it jumped from them all the way to Black women and Black men. Same within Africa, but they have I've done research and found that a polio vaccination was used in Africa, Zaire, South Africa, and other parts of Africa to put the HIV strain inside of that vaccine. And they would give those free vaccinations to Black men, Black women in particular, Black children, some Black men. And that is how Africa became one of the most highest percentages of AIDS cases globally. And Caucasians in South Africa, those who were considered, expendable, the poor. Remember, we know the history of Europe. The Caucasian peasants were slaves in that country, and they were enslaved here. They were the first slaves here. They're sacrificial. So yes, sir. They would expose their own people to the disease for two purposes: to see how effective it is, and the second, to mask the true intention of the disease to depopulate the indigenous groups of people at the expense of a small group of sacrificial Caucasian people.
Okay, when you say that the food and even the produce that has pesticide on it, well, who's doing this? Is it one group, or is it just different white people that got the same formula?
Well, we know the government produces food, and then they are like Monsanto is a governmental pesticide company that the government uses, and they produce this the pesticides to be sprayed on the produce. A brother named Tyrone Hayes, he was hired by Monsanto. He worked at UC Berkeley, and they hired him to do the research on how the effects of atrazine and paraquat would have on frogs, and to see its effects on perhaps the environment, nature, and even humans. And his conclusion was that like 1,000th per billion per unit it'll change the sex of a male frog to a female, where it produces ovaries, and it'll accept being mounted by other male frogs. And its conclusion was that all other animals, reptilian, amphibian, and mammals, all have similar reactions to it. And they had so he advised not to use the pesticide. Well, Monsanto, they did what they had to do. They worked on getting him fired, and they worked on threatening his life and the life of his family for getting the information out. And the government still uses it to this day. I even have an article that talks about like Depo-Provera and marijuana being used as gender bending agents to alter the gender of children while they're in the womb of the mother. And those are the two things that they use, one for birth control, and the other they've made legal in several states in the United States that contribute towards the gender bending of not the person smoking, but the fetus. The testicles of a male become gender, susceptible to gender bending. It's the estrogen content has been weaponized to interfere with the gender selection process. The female's ovaries, the same thing, because marijuana is traced through the urine, and it goes to the reproductive system of both male and female. And so I forgot. What's your question?
No, no, but we was talking about eating and things
Yeah,
like
so the food, so yes, sir. So yes, the government. It's a governmental effort.
oh,
It's
what all the international governments working together or just America?
any, I believe it's internationally Caucasian rule, global. I
Mhm.
believe it's a global agenda.
Mhm.
You know, like I was saying in my initial opening, indigenous people naturally would be inclined to excel and surpass Caucasian people if left alone. We have monuments, we have you know, we have a history that can't be calculated to this day, accomplishments that are constantly being unearthed. We have physically that you can see and that which you can't see. We have hidden civilizations in the Amazon and in the deserts that we deliberately hid because we knew someone was coming, and we had to hide certain aspects of our superior technology so that so it could be protected from this strange kind of man that was coming into power. And all European, all Caucasian people of Caucasian origin and persuasion, they all have an inferiority complex in comparison to us.
Mhm.
It's almost like it's ingrained in their genetic psyche. They know they age faster than we do if left naturally alone side by side with them. If we weren't given the worst foods, the worst education, the worst living conditions, the worst chemically assaulted and all the things we deal with dealing with racism and systemic racism, side by side, our aging is drastically reduced due to the sun and how natural we are to the earth. We had somebody that had their hand up, brother Rasaki. I saw someone with their hand
Yeah,
up.
Brother Chihuahua want to chime in.
Yes, sir.
Yes. What, if any, because I'm more like in a solution base.
Definitely.
So I am also a part of what my ancient eons ago ancestors were more characterized by their progressiveness mindsets and their um, um, innovations. So what, if any, based upon your lecture this evening here, does evolution play a role in? And I would like you to focus basically on a solution to these situations, because I'm with you 1,000,000% in terms of your whole presentation this evening here.
Thank you, big brother. If I was understanding you correctly, as my Baba Ra always says when he's about to speak, um, evolution. Well, in Islam, we teach that human beings, when a child's in the womb of a mother, it's evolving from single cell to multiple cell. It goes from amphibian to all of the other physical biological characteristics of the animal kingdom before it reaches the top and most superior biological structure of the animal kingdom, which is human beings. There's an evolutionary process that takes place in 9.5, 10 months. We don't ascribe to the Darwin's theory of evolution. We ascribe to the divine evolution of man under and guided and directed by the Creator, that everything that we endure and that we go through is to elicit a re-evolution of the mind, to enlighten and grow and evolve as the original man and woman in our original state, our natural state. our natural state is a God, not the God, but a God, our natural state. And we have to understand what that means. It's not the state that we're in now. A natural state is the one that knew how to name the animals because we were given knowledge of all things on earth. And we named the animals, we named everything. We knew the foods to eat, we knew the herbs, we knew how to live for hundreds of years. We knew how to manipulate matter, manipulate gravity, build the greatest monuments that baffle the minds of the greatest scientists of this world. And once uninterrupted, brother, we will begin to have that re-evolution of the minds, body, and spirit again, to where we once again gain those godly original qualities that were permitted to be submerged within our genetic psyche over the past 6,000 years, by Caucasian people who were created to do just what they're doing. Take it away from us so we can gain it back by nature, and proving that we are worthy of being, a reflection of the Creator, manipulating matter, mass, energy, time. But we have to qualify for those abilities by knowing the greatest weakness within us and conquering it. And Caucasians are that. That's why they came from us. They're evidence of our greatest weakness. And we're supposed to conquer the essence of that evil that lied within us, so that we can qualify for our being returned back to our original state as children, God's children of the Most High. Yes, sir. You have another question? I see your hand. I see the hands up.
Yes. Do you see yourself in this present time now? Because, we know of the greatness of our people, and we know of all of those things that you just mentioned. However, you and I and others weren't really there at that time in the manifestation of self. But now we're here today, faced with the same situation that many of us who are not here now was faced with. What I'm seeing happening, though, is, because there was a time when a brother like you couldn't even speak like you're speaking today without, endangering your entire family, straight up, like right in your face type of danger. Not, we're still in danger now,
Yes,
but I'm talking about right outright. So evolution now, when I speak of evolution, I'm speaking of that divine currency and current that is mastering and pushing life to a certain point, while many of us are trying to understand this evolutionary change rather than just surrendering to it and going within one's own self, reconnecting to the earth. Because you spoke of, we named the animals, we named the plants, we knew the medicine, we knew the law, we knew the balance, and we knew when the balance was out, how to bring it back into balance. And this is the information that we need now. How do we balance that? Because the question about Professor Ra asks about, who's doing this. And well, it's the Food and Drug Administration, for one, to name one, the FDA, who approves engineered ingredients to be placed in food now. Before it was that, it was GMOs, genetically modified. Now they have biologically engineered, and they don't even list it amongst the ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they do state that it is an ingredient in the food. And when you go further research into it, which many people are not going to do that, they're just going to grab the stuff and read the ingredients and go with it. They don't even see it right below the ingredients. When you go into it, it says the FDA says that there's no danger in it. Also, it says that this thing does not occur through conventional breeding, nor is it found in nature. You know what I'm saying? So it is actually changing and attacking the DNA structure. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you see a lot of people voting and doing these different things, not realizing that they're participating in an adhesion contract, giving others authorization to attack them in the manner in which you have described throughout your old presentation here. You know, and the effects of it is devastating.
That's right.
You know, it's devastating until we reconnect to the earth and reconnect to what is nature, what we call nature. You know, a lot of people don't trust nature. They
That's
trust the grocery store.
Yes, sir.
You know, they don't trust to go out there and forage. You know, they don't trust to go and find out what is actually prescribed by the earth for you. You know, I do a lot of foraging and stuff like that. And you know, I come into my son's house, I'm babysitting for him tonight, and I see Briar's ice cream.
Yes,
And I look at it, and it's, you know, plant-based, you know, so plant-based, I'm like, good. So I'm looking at it, I read the ingredients, and lo and behold, right beneath the ingredients, it says, contains a biologically engineered ingredient.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of us, I think education and I think unifying ourselves is very important, because we need to be unified. $1 ain't strong, but a million people with $1 is $1 million. And that's just using a very small integer, you know, of money,
Yes,
you
sir.
know? So if we can combine our minds, educational wise, professional wise, in all of the different disciplines and crafts that we've all went to the university and mastered and came out and degreed up and all this business, but what are we doing? We're sitting here eating, you know, biologically engineered ingredients and still talking about what we need to do and what's happening. You know, we need to just go ahead and be radical in terms of adjusting ourselves. You know, so you know, I really appreciate, love the fact that you have done this work to present it on this platform. I think that the information is critical, but it's not information just to be put out there and not acted upon.
Exactly.
You know, and I think we need to figure out how can we act upon this, you know, and I'm willing to speak off the platform, you know, to find out how can we, you know, how can we be a benefit to each other? How can we unite ourselves together? What can we create? Because it don't make no sense to go against the system.
Yes, sir.
The system is already set. And our people that's embroiled in it, some of them don't want to leave it.
That's right.
So you're gonna you're gonna be contented with those people that look at you and say, well, something wrong with you. You know, so I don't think the solution is fixing the system at all.
That's right.
It's done.
It's outside.
You know, I think we need to create our own space and
Mhm.
place to achieve what you have presented here on this platform. And I give thanks to the platform for interfacing with individuals like yourself, my brother. Just stay strong, keep your negative ions going, you know, because that's what we need. The positive ions will destroy us. That's another thing that a lot of people don't understand. The role that energy plays in all of this.
Yes, sir.
And the mind and the thought and the brain. That's where we need to start, right there. You know, and I think if we do that, we'll be good.
Wow,
so thank you.
Thank you. And it's Brother Raxton.
Yes.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, Brother Raxton. Praise be to Allah, your words heartfelt and deep. And as y'all, as the brothers know, I've been a member of the Nation of Islam, you know, for 30 years. And if you were to just take out the religious reputation, you know, and just look at the practices, you know, we're not allowed to smoke. We're not allowed to drink. We are not allowed to fornicate. We're not allowed to go out and be out in clubs. We're not allowed to womanize. We're given a diet of how to eat to live, which has a list of the majority of vegetables and have some healthy meats, but at the end of the how to eat to live, it says that vegetables, a vegetarian diet is the best for you, and that is the intended diet of the Nation of Islam. You know, where everything that we practice is outside of society, right down to when the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was among us. He had at the time they said it was like in that day it was maybe like a $4 to $8 million, but it was like more like $1 billion or something today. I don't know the exact number, but it was in the billions today. And he created businesses all over the United States, Black owned, ran and operated, clean, beautiful service, quality, and those that's the cure, Brother Raxton. It's living outside of this hell of a society, and the Nation of Islam, when you look at its practice is living outside of society. We do not participate in any holidays. We do not participate in any celebrations. This country creates the environment for us to spend excessively honoring. We basically live in accordance to a lifestyle that prepares this world for its fall, and we inherit a lifestyle that will be here long after this world's fall.
Can I jump in?
Go ahead.
I'm listening to both you brothers, and Brother Chiwara, which is Raxton, he said that the system in place is here, and we can't worry about that because you can't change that. I agree with that. And then Brother Thomas is basically everything you saying, that the type of lifestyle that's being lived is a constructive lifestyle. And you know, I can identify with what Professor Ross say, that we take the best practices of, you know, Kawida philosophy, takes the best. And then, you know, you listen to a brother like Neely Fuller Jr. and see, I analyze all the philosophies to the best of my ability. And simply, if we live a constructive life, and I think that we're basically in opposition of the system that is in place. And it's a part of, I would say, a kryptonite for the system if you live constructively, because the system feeds off of our non-constructive behaviors and ways of living.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. I just wanted to add that. Keep going, Brother Thomas.
Brother, praise be. And I love, man, this is awesome. Because it is about, you know, not getting caught up into the death style culture that we've all been exposed to. That's the first step. And that, based on my brother Raxton, I don't know what your spiritual name is, sir, but that will begin the evolution, the re-evolution of our mind, body, and spirit into our original state. Once we excommunicate ourselves from the food that's destroying our pineal gland, our internal organs, all those machinations, all those abilities inside of us that harness the energy so that we can begin to move matter at will on top of a 13, 14-story pyramid, defying the laws of a 9.81 meter per second squared pulled back down to the earth. We'd be able to defy the laws. And once we begin to evolve into our original state by cutting off the smoking, drinking, womanizing, we fast, we meditate, we pray, we begin to put healthy food in our body, begin to allow our body to evolve to the state of us becoming that magnanimous man and woman that we were originally created to become. And go ahead, big brother. You have the floor. What's your question, sir? I see your hand up.
Yes. It is so important to be in step with creation itself. Physical step. One of the things that will bring us in physical step is the establishment of certain fundamental truths.
Sir.
One of the things that is a fundamental truth is that we live in one place and one place only at all times. Everything else is operational. So the situation is we all who are innovative and progressive towards achieving and reversing the ill effects of the imbalance that's been put in place by these inferior beings, inferior based upon their intellectual, or not intellectual, but intelligence quota.
Yes, sir.
In order to achieve what we must achieve, we have to create the fundamental basis for that. And the fundamental basis is truth. Truth being that we live within our physical bodies. And we need to get up every day remaining 100% within that body. And knowing that everything that we do throughout a 24-hour period or a lifetime are all operational energy. We're just operating.
Yes, sir.
And so this has not been taught. What I'm saying to you is what I've discovered for myself. And many others, maybe people with PhDs and masters and all of this, they may beg to differ. But there's but one place that we can live, and that's within our bodies. This is our actual home here while we're here in this life, what we call life. And we need to be in there 100%, not 99.9%. We need to be in there 100%. What is it like to live within your being 100% of the time, regardless of what you're doing on the outside? And I think we'll go leaps and bounds if we're able to establish those foundations.
Definitely. Oh man. Teach, big brother. Yes, sir. And that's like I said, you know, when you look at the scripture and look at the prophecy and look at the conditions of our past and the solutions, you know, in Islam, Moses is the main prophet mentioned in the Quran the most. And it's all about separating from Pharaoh into a mind, body, spiritual, and physical state where we can grow, evolve, supply our own food, clothing, shelter, and practices that elicit the human evolutionary process again towards becoming a God, child of the Most High, away from the machinations of a devilish kind of man that created an environment to counter the natural evolutionary process of the original man becoming that God. You know, so, oh man, beautiful. Thank you very much for your beautiful comments. I'm gonna quickly go through this. I think this is one of my last slides. Another effort, and it goes into that Tyrone Hayes. It said to reduce the number of Black heterosexual male and female interested in traditional Black male and female relationships. And all those elements I mentioned before do the same thing. The food deserts, the foods that we're exposed to, they sterilize us, and they introduce so much estrogen in the body of the male and female that it does interfere with gender selection process. Water is estrogenized. It's estrogen disrupting chemicals. Birth control causes sterility and gender bending. Drugs as well, opioids, and pesticides. They all cause that male within us to accept being mounted by another male, like these two male frogs right here. And Tyrone Hayes submitted the research, and when he got fired and got attacked by Monsanto and the federal government, he went into hiding, and then he produced this material and began to go on speaking engagements, informing all of America of the reality of the government attempting to introduce these cancerous, carcinogenic, gender-bending agents within the populations of America. And Professor Ra, you talked about, like, okay, Caucasians are in America, Caucasians are in South Africa. Well, we know the elite, the elite aristocratic class of Europe viewed the peasant class as peons, parasites, paupers, and peons, parasites, paupers, and slaves. They were worthy of death and exploitation. And I have a book called They Were White and They Were Slaves, and they were shipped in cargo ships worse than the closely packed slave ships, because the cargo ships was made for unalive cargo, boxes and crates. But the slave ships were made for human packing. So these Caucasians were shipped in cargo ships in America, and they died in the thousands. So they have a history of sacrificing Caucasian undesirables. And they use them for two reasons: to get rid of them and to make it look like it's not focusing on the intended population. So that's my presentation. I just wanted to kind of bring it a little bit, not as hard as I usually come, but just kind of give you some food for thought. And yes, our solution is to be in this world, but not of the world. The drinking, the smoking, the womanizing, the gluttony, the diet, the overeating, anything that we do that makes it difficult for us to be distinguished from the hell of a world that we live in, that is going to prevent us from evolving into that of our original state and becoming the man and woman that can create anything just by calling it into existence, by manipulating atomic particles, by doing the things that the Creator did to create all life. Those abilities are waiting for us to claim them as we qualify and evolve by excommunicating ourselves with the death style culture that has been imposed upon our ancestors. But this conversation, like Brother Raxton said, is a sign that we are evolving. The fact that we're talking about this, but talking like this, but 30, 40 years ago, this deep conversation wasn't even in existence. We talked similarly, but not to this depth. And then we get deeper every generation, and we get closer to the evolution of our original state. And that's my position. That's my solution. Study the lifestyle of the teaching of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It gives you a lifestyle that totally rebels and totally is counter to that of this world. And it prepares you for, and your children, once you teach your children how to live outside of this world and incorporate a lifestyle that continues that evolutionary process to our original state. And it's not just the Nation of Islam. There's other systems out there that do the same thing. But once you find those systems that relates to you and your being and yourself, don't just follow it 80%, 90%, or 99.9%. You follow that lifestyle of evolution 100%, like Brother Raxton said. Go ahead, Big Brother Raxton.
Okay, 1 second here. Brother Machinda. Brother Machinda, are you there? Are you present? Okay, he must just be listening. Okay, go ahead, Brother Chawara.
Yes, all praises unto the Most High and to righteousness as it is permeating all life form. I just want to comment on the in this world, but not of this world. That is a profound statement. Now, one thing about that statement now, because we're in an age of where information is beyond the information that men produce, and that the outer world put forward and claim worldship. But the truth be told is that there's only one world, and that's the world in which we live. Now, because we have to identify what is world, if we say be in the world but not of the world, then we have to know what this world, to identify this world. This world is identified as your body, your physical temple is the world. Now, outside of your body is called creation or nature. There's no world outside of the human body. We are the world, we are the children. This is what the song said. When Michael Jackson and many other notable influencers, celebrities got together and did this song, We Are the World. And then scripture-wise, it says, the earth belongs to the Lord and the fullness thereof. So we know that the earth is creation and the fullness of it is all of nature. And then it goes on to say, the world and they that dwell therein. So if the world and they that dwell there, dwell meaning living within the world and they that live within the world, so the world would have to be your body. So now once you understand that you are in the world already, now you need to be of that world. See, they flip it, they give you something, but they turn you against it at the same time. So the reality is, and not the reality, but the realness of the situation is that we are already in the world. Take charge of the world, control the world, discipline your world. And then we can come together and unite ourselves together, and all of us be a unified world together. It's a divine state of existence. It is a sacred space that we're all given, and we can do with it what we want. We can dash it against the rock, we can throw it in the trash, we can give it away, or we can preserve it, conserve it, and hold it, and combine it with others that is like frequency and like energy. And then we will have the power to transform everything that's in nature, everything that's in creation. We become then where they say, I give you dominion over all things that have been created that have life. But if we're not dwelling in the world, how are we going to have dominion? Because we belong, say the earth belongs to the Lord and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. So we have to be 100% in the world so that we can control nature. Because that's what they're manipulating. They're manipulating the DNA. They're manipulating nature. They're manipulating creation.
That's right.
And they're doing it because we're not 100% within ourselves. We're confused. We're searching for this, searching for that, searching for love, searching for the cure, searching for everything. So I give thanks and praise that you raised this energy because it caused me to be able to share.
Praise.
And that's what we're all about, sharing and caring and fulfilling a righteous and a divine role. That's what we're here to do. So I mean, I wanted to say thank you so much for being here and being cultivated as you have been cultivated over the years to be where you're at today to speak in the manner in which you speak. Positive, and ions to you.
Praise. Thank you.
know?
Brother. Is it pronounced Chihuahua? Chihuahua?
Chihuahua.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you very much, Brother Chihuahua.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
pleasure. It's such a pleasure.
Oh man, this is wonderful, wonderful. Pastor Rod, any last words? You're on mute.
You know, a lot of almost all ideologies and philosophies are created by people. How they see the world, how they see life. There's so many different perspectives out there. Some people can pursue and get education and don't even go to school, but they can think and they can analyze. They may not can spell a lot of words, but they know how to get through. And so, a lot of the diseases, the non-heterosexual sex and relationships are have been here way before processed food. I mean, animals, participate in same sex. Some fish, some fish, the male had a baby. It's a complex structure, but I mean, I'm not saying that these theories and perspectives that both of y'all are talking about are not accurate. It's just one of thousands, millions, all over the world. Buddhists have a position. Hindus have a position. The various denominations of religions have and sects of religion. All Muslims don't see the world the way one Muslim group see it. They may agree that Allah is God, but they don't. They have a different interpretation of the Quran. Just like, I mean, it's a very complex. I mean, when you're talking about trying to get people out of habits and the way they were raised by their mothers and fathers, who takes them to the McDonald's to get the processed food, who takes them, have them believing in ruthless spending on those holidays that Brother Thomas Muhammad was talking about. I mean, parents did that. Parents, the kid's a baby, and mama come home with a big Christmas tree and put it in the house. And then dress them up like Easter bunnies on Easter. And then take them out to get Halloween candy. And so the kids think their mama wouldn't do this. And we're spread out, not just in this country, but in the world. We got Black Africans in Brazil, Africans in Haiti, Africans in Jamaica, Africans in everywhere. In the mountains in China, in the mountains in Europe. They were the first in Europe. I just, it's just hard to get people. Some people are addicted to white life like a crackhead addicted to crack. And even a lot of the religion, it's a sin to not believe or to listen to someone else telling you not to believe. You know, like some Muslims would say, you're a Muslim, but you just don't know it. You understand? And all people in religions say that, but it's just, man, it's just a complex issue trying to educate people to what I was listening to tonight.
Yes,
And
sir.
try to get them to change.
Yes, sir.
You know, I mean, they fighting to get grocery stores in their community.
Yeah.
You know, and they fighting to get pharmacies in their community.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, because they were orientated to the capitalistic aspects of it.
Yes, sir.
Now, it's hard to have a garden in the projects,
That's right.
but, you know, there are a lot of people that are eating organic food.
Yeah.
And a lot of gay people eat them.
Yes, sir.
You know, I mean, all you got to do is just go to those stores like Trader Brothers and Whole Foods.
Yeah.
You see them twisting around, and you know, so it's a challenge. It's a challenge, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rob, why you got to come with the Richard Pryor?
Well, they
Oh
do.
man.
They do. All I'm saying is that keep on pushing.
Yes, sir.
Oh man.
Make a
You know,
megaphone
Yes,
Rob,
sir.
to
Let me say
captivate.
this.
Yeah.
I was in Professor Rob's class back in the early 90s. And I tell you, those classes were the most entertaining classes you ever want to be in. You would think that Professor Rob was Richard Pryor, Red Fox, and all of them dudes, but bringing education along with it. If people don't know how joyous learning was with Professor Rob.
Yeah.
And but we oh man, this is why it's fun to do this, because it hasn't went away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
That's
my God.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah. But bring us home with your point, Rob. I know you said it's complex, but bring us
No,
home with it.
I'm all I'm saying is that no matter what philosophy you have, what theory you come up to help our people, you need a bigger megaphone, and you need marquee names to help attract them to it, and people that they trust and have faith in.
Mm-hmm.
Like most Christians ain't gonna listen to Islamic teaching, and Islamic teaching ain't gonna listen to most Christians. Buddhists ain't gonna listen to neither one of them, and neither Hindus, and they represent millions and millions of people. And I'm just saying that, you know, there's always a rush to get the minds and hearts of the people.
Yes, sir.
That's just it. You know, as the old saying say, most people see people as consumers, first as converts. Convert into what I think and how I see the world. Consumers, let me sell you something. And if I can't get those two things out of you, I just figure out a way to use you, utilitarian. And it's just a struggle, man. I mean, I've been in this for years, man, trying to wake people up. The nutrition, the food.
Yeah.
I mean, when Dick Gregory came out with the Bohemian diet and all that, I mean, I've been doing this since 1965, man.
Sure.
And it's just not easy, regardless of the truth you have. Good God. And then they're like a fish that you take out the water and leave on the deck. They flap until they get back in the water.
Yes.
So it's a challenge, man. But I think it's good. Everybody's doing research and coming up with new explanations for this madness we in. Try to get sane. You know, try to help people be sane.
Yes, sir.
And see their bodies as a temple. See themselves as in control of themselves instead of letting others control them. But anyway, it was good tonight, Thomas. Thank you for the input.
Thank you, Professor Rob. Praise be to Allah. I appreciate you, brother. And I thank you, Brother Rasaki, for this beautiful platform. And it's been a while, too long, but it's just, I learned something I have learned and continue to learn something every time Allah blesses me to be on the platform. And once again, I thank you for the opportunity. And it's so good to see you, Baba Ra, man. You look good. You sound good, brother.
I mean, I've been sick for about 2 weeks with this. It's not, I don't have no temperature or anything. Just hay fever in spring and all that rain and all that. Definitely. So, but I'm all right.
Yes,
I'm all right. I'll be all right. I just gotta push myself.
Right.
Thanks for saying that. It's good to see you too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, I tell you, I'm listening to Ra after listening to you guys, and I'm just soaking it all up. And Ra is basically saying that people are impressionable. I mean, it's just, and when you're growing up and learning and acquiring all these habits, it is a challenge. And I'm a testament to the challenge of being that person that you guys speak of. I'm gonna get to you, brother Chihuahua. And I'm just my I didn't conquered a few things, but now it's the diet. And I'm in the struggle right now with myself. We talk about, we are the world. Each individual has their own world, and I'm fighting in mine. It's a challenge, but I like what Robbie's saying, man. Stay in the struggle.
That's right.
I'm definitely struggling in the area of nutrition.
Yes, sir.
Because, oh man, I don't even want to tell y'all what I did today. But it's a wonderful thing to be around you, brother. Go ahead, brother Gerard.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, brother Gerard.
Yeah, great. Yes, this is truly a divine time going on right now. As far as I say PP, PF, PP. Those stands for, the first PP stands for present past. The next PP stands for present future. And then you have present. So you have PP, present past, PP, present, present, and PF, present future.
Yes, sir.
Now, we are to remain in the present. It doesn't cancel out the future, nor does it neutralize the past. It's just that they are not relevant right now. What's happening in today's world, 2024, this is the 21st century, is there's a great harvesting going on.
Yes, sir.
Now, to understand that is to know this. The truth is not converting anybody. I don't care what religion you are, what culture you are, what is your, tradition. Truth is truth. Now, yes, people have their little thing, where they want to deal with this, they don't want to deal with that, accept this, reject that, and all that business. But whether we accept things or reject things, what we accept is life. And whatever we're rejecting also is life. So life becomes a supremacy, the supreme manifestation, the supreme reality, because without life, you have nothing would exist. That's number one. So there are folks in this time, we are harvesting only those who wish to be harvested. If the farmer goes to his field and he harvests his stuff, he's not going to try to bring stuff like the tears to the market. He's bringing the wheat. And he's not going to feel no way about leaving the tears behind, because that's what they were supposed to be left behind. You don't take that to the market. It goes back to the earth. So you have people out here that want to be convinced. You got people out here that want to be, you know, turned around, want you to hold their hand. This is not the time for that. We're right now in radical change. All of those things are distractions. Yes, I might have to leave my own child behind because they don't want to deal with the truth. And they feel like whatever they're dealing with is the truth. It doesn't matter. At this point, you had to be 100% within yourself so that you can identify the truth, so that you can know what is wrong and what is right, and so that you can have the courage to choose. We don't have the courage anymore. We're discombobulated. Our brain is undernourished, so therefore our minds don't function properly because they're breaking down our brains. Our brain is a part of our physiological manifestation. If we're not getting the right nutrients for our brain, how will our brain be able to handle the energy of our minds? Because we're dealing with thought. Thought is not of this world. Thoughts don't come from this world, that we out here in this third dimensional space thinking that we thinking. You know, no, it's thoughts are of a higher mind consciousness. So unless we're in our higher mind consciousness, we're not going to be able to process the thought properly. And if our brains are undernourished or malnourished, it's not going to be able to deal with the behavior of the mind. The mind is your power, your faculty. So a new faculty of thinking has to be inserted. It doesn't have to be inserted by this person or that person. It has to be inserted by the individual. If the individual say, I don't want to eat hamburgers, you know, who am I to have a problem with that? If I got a problem with it, it's not the person that want to eat hamburger, it's me. If the person says, all I want to eat is vegetables, who is anybody to have a problem with that? If a person say, I want to go lay down with a man would say he want to go lay down with, who am I to have a problem with that? People can do whatever they want to do. It doesn't cancel out the truth. Do I agree with the alphabet world? Hell no, I don't agree with the alphabet world. But if life don't have a problem with it, who the hell am I to have a problem with it? All I can do is separate myself from toxicity. Carve out for myself a divine path. And all who desire a divine path, all who desires a life without toxicity, they have to have the courage to step up to the plate and not only do it today, but make it a part of their very existence. Cleanse yourself, purge yourself, purify your mind. This is a personal, individual responsibility. It has nothing to do with, you know, maybe a particular group or a particular individual trying to get the people to do this or think this. No. People can think whatever they want to think. It doesn't change nothing. It will only change them. And if they feel good about the change, guess what they're going to do? They're going to continue to do it. They're going to continue in that path. And so, you know, like I said again, the brother Thomas pointing out these things that's directly affecting us, that's causing us to appear feminine when we're actually masculine, to appear masculine when we're actually feminine. These are things that people, once we begin to speak the truth, it's not with the intention to convert anybody or turn in people against what they do. Some people become shamed. They don't want to hear that. Some people have all kinds of different things going on in their lives. We exist as beacons, light. So all we got to do is shine. As long as we shine, Those who's lost and in the dark and they see the light, they're gonna go towards the light because they want to move out of what they're into. We don't have to talk to them and say nothing to them, just shine. Just shine. And more of us come together and combine our sacred space, our divine space, and shine. The light becomes more intense and more intense and more intense and more people are reached just by us doing what we do in agreement, because we already accept the truth. So we live in the truth. All it's going to do, they're going to get it by osmosis. That is the actual process of receiving things. You can actually change the world by you changing your own life. And then you combining yourself with others who change their life towards more divine liberty, a more pure liberty. We don't have to talk to people and tell them nothing, convince them about nothing. You will find problems. You will get into problems. They did that throughout the whole 60s. We don't do that no more. This 21st century. You get it, you got it. You ain't got it, oh well. That's how it goes. Do you need a piece of bread? I'll give you a piece of bread. You know, and you want me to show you how to bake a bread? Nah, man, I just want some bread. Okay, here go the bread, bro. Bye. We're not here no longer to walk people through nothing. We're here to shine our light. All we're looking for is other lights to combine. One firefly don't show you nothing. But if you put 100,000 of them in a bottle, you have a big old light bulb. You put 1 million of them in a concentrated space. The whole place in that space, there's no darkness to be found. You see, because the lightning bug will just light up the place. That's what we have to look at ourselves as lights, individual lights. Find each other, find one another, combine our light, make it more intense. And then we ain't worried about the nature, what's going on in nature and in creation. We ain't worried about that. You know, and that's what I would like to, I'd like to say, because, man, I know so much brilliant people, man. I watched Dr. Lila Africa's foot. I watched his foot. I've rubbed shoulders with Dick Gregory. I've rubbed shoulders with Sabi. Man, I'm just saying, I don't talk about that kind of stuff because it's not something to, I'm just saying, though, it's like, and it's the same thing going on and on and on. So what I do, I just say, hey, just chill back. Let me sit back and just live and learn. Live and learn. No matter how old I get, I'm still learning. And I will always keep my youthful energy inside of me moving, keeping it moving. I will not sit down. I will not accept pain. I will not accept congestion. I would not accept toxicity. I would not accept none of that. And I would do something about all of them.
That's right.
That's real, brother Chihuahua. Rod, I see you writing down stuff. What you writing?
Man, it's a lot of stuff, brother. Like Shira would say, you got to just be the king of your kingdom, and keep on pushing. Just taking notes, that's all.
Yeah. Now, let me just introduce who's going to be here next week. We got Dr. Charles Alexander coming back. He's one of our team members. And his topic is leadership or misleadership. Is that kind of relevant? Or how does that tie into this evening? Leadership or misleadership?
I think it ties into a lot because Baba Ross talked about how everybody, there's 3 things you do. You recruit, you consume, or you use, or something. I forgot the 3 things. So
repeat that, Professor Rob.
In terms of leadership, in terms of trying to, somebody trying to indoctrinate you or get you to follow them. They either want you they want to convert you, they want you to be they want to consume, or
they see you as a consumer.
Or they want see you as a consumer, or they want to use you as a resource, or maybe use your resources, right?
Or use you, period.
Okay.
Any kind of way.
Yes,
Once they see they can't convert you and you ain't got no money to buy anything, so let me see what I can use you for.
Peace.
Capitalize, huh? Off of
Capitalize.
anything.
That's what he said.
Yeah, kind of off of anything they could get from you. What do you call those? Parasites.
Mhm. Yes.
Parasitic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next week we won't have a show on Tuesday, but Wednesday we have Dr. Charles Alexander. And then the following week, I'll talk to Professor Ra, have a guest, and see if he's going to accept that guest. So now we're going to take our pause. This was an excellent presentation and conversation and reactions. You know, you brothers do well with educating, man. It's just a ball of fun. You know, this is my joy. Now, you know, that's why I keep doing it, because what's better than developing your brain? I always tell my students, what's better than making this thing better than what it is? There's nothing better than that.
Peace.
Yeah. So each one teach one, conscious corner.
That's
Have a
right.
good evening.